last night. We had some fun games. Cade Cunningham must have been watching the show, and he must have found out about those ridiculous odds for him at MVP because he put one on the Garden last night, finished with 42, 13, 8 rebounds. He was 17 of 34 from the field. Remember, no Duren, no Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons, and it wasn't even close. 126, 111, your final. The Detroit Pistons victorious, 3-0 against the Knicks this season. By the way, not just 3-0. They've won those games by 38, 31, and 15. Stan Van Gundy, who was calling the game, shout out, said it on the air. The Knicks are not tough enough to hang with the Pistons, Boogie. Is it just that simple?
It's just that simple. And I remember speaking on, signs of weakness when they had the little scuffle with OG in the beginning of the season. I called him out on it then. I told him I don't think that's a good sign for this New York Knicks team to allow that type of situation to happen. I feel like teams will view that and think they can come in and punk you. We fast forward to now, and what are we hearing? That this team isn't tough enough. I've been saying it all year. I like this Knicks team. They're a good group. They have a good chemistry. But is it enough for them to get over the hump? And it's just not. I think Detroit is the clear-cut best team in this conference. I think the Celtics are a close second. But this Detroit team they're the real deal. They put this type of performance on without their two bigs and Isaiah Stewart and Duren. And it just goes to show that this team has a lot of will, has a lot of fight, and they also have a lot of trust within one another. So, like I said, this group is the real deal. I think they'll continue to show. I'm looking forward to how they perform in these playoffs. I think we'll see an even better version of this group. But once again, this team is the real deal.
Yeah. No, agreeing with you, Boogie. Like watching that game last night, Detroit did everything they could. They gave themselves second chance opportunities at the basket, loose balls, toughness, allowing New York just one shot at the basket. All of those small, intangible things that are winning habits. Detroit has them, and that swings the pendulum over to them to be able to be a tougher team than the New York Knicks. And you saw it last night. Even down to, like you said, Durant is out of the lineup, Stewart is out of the lineup. But you get a guy like Paul Reed that gets an opportunity to play extended minutes. He takes advantage of his opportunity. He's out there frustrating Cat, doing everything that he can to give them second chance opportunities to get other plays, to get Cade another opportunity at the basket. So when you have a team like that no matter what, they just fill in guys and they go out and they do their jobs, they do their parts, that makes them tougher. And you could just see it. They just created separation on New York last night to just show, look, in between these 1 through 4s, we got some separation. We're not in that group. And they did that last night. So we start having these conversations about statement games and teams and doing their thing and Cade being a part of the MVP conversation. This was a huge statement game for them to come out of the break and play the game that they played and to make New York Knicks look the way that they made them look.
Yeah, Lou just mentioned it. This is the second game without the two bigs, and Paul Reed just inserts and is the second best player on this team. This is just their identity. This is next man up mentality. It doesn't matter who that they play that night. They have a formula, and they just outwork you. They're tougher than you. They beat you up. And then they got a guy like Cade Cunningham, who literally yesterday we sat there and said, how is this guy not in the MVP conversation? And he goes to the Mecca and absolutely shows out on the biggest stage in the world and drops 42 and gets a huge win coming out of All-Star break, where sometimes you see some sluggish basketball, sometimes you see some sloppiness. He didn't miss a beat. So this was a huge performance for them. Again, without two of their most important players, it's just next man up. Doesn't matter. Offense, shots going down. This team is going to outplay you. They're going to play harder than you. And that is half the battle nowadays. And if you look across the board, the Knicks are way more talented. The Cavs, the Celtics are way more talented. That means nothing when you play the Detroit Pistons because they will just beat you up the entire game, and they have Cade Cunningham that could just close it out for you. And 34 shots, I don't think it's enough. I think he can continue to be more aggressive and continue to have the ball in his hands and do special things like he did last night. Yeah. So this was a huge win coming out of the break. And again, shout out Paul Reed too. Hasn't played much, not in the rotation, and two games in a row where he's been dominant with the big fellas out.
Yeah, and Cade did the opposite. Like, we criticize guys sometimes, like when you have other guys out of the lineup, we criticize you for not being aggressive enough. Cade said, nah, They don't want to play. They not in the lineup. Well, listen, we gonna live and die by me shooting this basketball 34 times tonight. And so you don't mind it, right? Like even though he's 17 for 34, still 50% on the night. That's a lot of reps. But I like the fact you're the star player of this team and you have some of your really good players out of the lineup. Listen, I'm not gonna ease into this game. I'm not gonna see how it's gonna go and go with the flow of the game. No, I'm gonna create the flow of the game. I'm gonna create how this game is gonna be played, and we're going to go from there. So a lot of good signs of leadership coming from Cade Cunningham with the way he was able to go about that game last night and as many attempts as he took.
Look, we said it last year when the playoffs ended for Detroit anyways. The way they ended against New York, that playoff series, like that, I just think that there's a special drawer from which they're drawing their power when they play this Knicks team, which is why I cannot wait for this. I hope we get it in the playoffs. Boogie, yesterday we talked a little bit about Cade as MVP. And it's funny because what did I say? Put $1 on it if you're in a free state for me. It was 20-1 yesterday, 7-1 today. Dang it! I told y'all to put $1 on it yesterday. So here's the thing, Boogie, because Stan Van Gundy, again, and I even texted with him after the game. Yes, I'm an insider, about him being MVP because for some that sounds crazy because I don't know if it's that they're not familiar with Cade Cunningham. Thank you. Is it not supposed to be the guy who's most valuable to his team? It's also
man,
crushing.
One thing that I love about the second half of the season is the dust somewhat more settles. And, we can get over the, preseason MVP favorites and the league goes about it in a way where they push certain guys at the beginning of the season. The great thing about the second half is you're going to know who the clear-cut almost favorite is in a sense. And with this now being the present day, I believe Cade Cunningham will take off as far as being the lead guy in this MVP race. The number one team in the East, he's been consistent all year. He's leading a group that no one expected to be in this position. He's mature beyond his years. He's a clutch, but everything you ask for in a leader, a superstar, a franchise guy, he's been able to deliver it and deliver it at a young age. So, his play speaks for itself. He's absolutely should be at least top 2 in this conversation, if not 1. So I think with this second half, I think he runs off with this race and he really makes a name for this season.
Yeah.
Runs off with that's big.
Yeah, I don't know if he runs off, but we are in a what have you done for me lately league. And right now it's Cade Cunningham. He's doing everything that he can to insert himself. He was in the conversation, but we had him in like 4, 5 in that conversation. He got an opportunity now to put himself in the top 2, especially while SGA is out of his lineup, especially while Denver is trying to figure it out with a tough game against the Clippers last night. And Cade Cunningham, he breezed through his game. If he can put 4 or 5 of these together, especially while those guys are out of the lineup, you can't help but notice the impact that he's having around the league and on his team as an individual. You got to put him in a conversation. And listen, numbers don't lie. It went from 20-1 to 7-1 overnight based on his 42-point performance. And he put 2 or 3 of these together. It's going to be hard not to acknowledge the fact that he's been able to do this. It's going to be hard to ignore it for sure.
I said this yesterday, but how are we voting? If you take Cade Cunningham off the Pistons, I swear I think they're a play-in team. Like I think they're drastically different. The Thunder,
and if you put them on the Knicks, they would be the number 1 team in the East.
The Thunder are still nice without SGA. Like Jokic is the best player in the NBA, I think, but I think the Nuggets can still win games with Jamal Murray with that group. You take Cade Cunningham off this team, it looks completely different. So it depends on, I guess, how you're voting. But like the most valuable player to his team this year is Cade Cunningham. And I don't even think it's close, bro.
Wow. So if we all had votes right now, and we don't,
gotta agree.
Are we voting Cade? Boogie, are we? I know Lou's kind of on the fence.
For me,
yeah.
First and second is Cade, then Jaylen Brown. Then it's everybody else.
Okay.
That's my
Jaylen Brown's been open.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, he's got my vote. Again, from every reason we said, he's a two-way player. He's one of the most clutch players. He's tough. Like he's created this whole identity with this team where they're contending. They're the least talented championship contending teams I've ever seen in my life. It's just because they play hard, they're tough. And Cade Cunningham, like JB Bickerstaff has created this entire new identity with this team. And it's obviously led by him. Like Jalen Duren's a hell of a big. He's going to be there for a long time, but they don't even have a clear-cut second option. Obviously he's the second guy. He's the second all-star, but It is just next man up. It is defend. It is toughness, and it is just everything that this guy does. So, yeah, if I had to vote, it's got to be Cade Cunningham to me.
So can I sort of piggyback, Boogie, off of something you sort of threw in there all nonchalant, like if Cade was on the Knicks, they'd be number one. So are you saying, all right, so we trade them, right? Brunson's a Piston, Cade's a Knick. Are they clear cut number one then? New
I
York?
believe so. I believe so. And it's no knock to Brunson. I believe Cade Cunningham is that elite of a player, especially this season. I think he elevates everybody around him. I think he makes the guys around him believe more than they probably should. Like I said, he's mature beyond his years. And the biggest thing that's going unnoticed when it comes to speaking on Cade Cunningham is he plays both sides of the ball. I feel like as far as speaking on the superstars in this league, that's a rare thing. Most of the guys we praise in this league, they're huge offensive guys, but you're not getting it on the other side of the court. And that's something that this kid is doing every single night on a consistent basis.
I also did it in the All-Star game, and I'll never forget. By the way, he did an interview with GQ. It's funny because you don't hear him talk a ton, but I do like some of the stuff he's been saying when he does talk. His biggest issue right now in the league is the following, and I quote, the refs have to get involved with the flopping because we're baiting people into fouls all the time. The flopping is just too much. 3 out of the top 5, top 10 guys are doing it constantly. He also did mention, Lou, that he would have better stat lines if he were to engage in some of this flopping, but he thinks it affects the flow of the game. What do you make of these comments?
He's still young. He'll adjust.
That's a talent. It's a skill to be able to get those calls.
Yeah. Look, he'll adjust. I like the fact that he's calling this out, but there's gonna come a time in Cade Cunningham's career where he's gonna try to just put points on the board easier than he is right now. Like obviously he's a dynamic guard and he can score with the best of them with the ball in his hands. But at some point, he's going to start rigging the game up. He's going to start paying attention to the end of the quarters when teams are in the bonus. Or, if a guy got one foul that you don't necessarily want to match up with, and you got an opportunity to get him his second foul just based on how he's playing you. Those are all little games inside of a game, with a guy being too aggressive, Cade just ripping through and doing all of those things. None of those are flops, but those are ways that you can rig up the game and put yourself in a position to be successful and to make sure on the offensive end that it's always going to go your way. Every single trip down the court, you got to get something out of that possession, whether it's a foul on the opposing team's best player, best defender, or whether it's getting 2 free throws, whether it's putting your team in a bonus. All of those little things helps the control of the game. So right now, he's able to do it. He's able to get to the rim. He's able to get to his mid-range. He's able to shoot threes. He's a 3-tier scorer, make no doubt about it. But when you get to a point where you can manipulate the game for your liking, and I agree with him, some of these guys do it a little too often, and sometimes they go out of their way to try to bait and create these foul opportunities. He don't have to do that yet, but if he wants to get to a place where he can get an added extra 6 to 10 points a game just by using his size and using his brain to manipulate the game like that, he'll put it in his bag eventually. But I do like the fact that he's calling this out. Let's get back to some pure basketball. Let's really score this basketball. But at the end of the day, it's one thing to bait guys into fouls, and it's another thing to flop. They're not two of the same things. Flopping and baiting fouls are 2 completely different things. So at some point, I guarantee you, Cade Cunningham will change his tune on the baiting part. I don't see him as much as a flopper because of his size. I don't think he has to flop at his size, but eventually, when he knows that his team got 4 fouls and Devin Booker or somebody runs up, and all you got to do is swing through to get those easy 2 free throws at the line just to swing the game your way. Trust me, he'll throw it in his bag for sure.
And love it or hate it, it's a skill, right? Like what SGA, what Brunson, what Luka, what Joel Embiid, what those guys do to get to the free throw line, Austin Reeves, like that is a talent, that is a skill, and that is what good scorers have learned to do. And the game has evolved, and the officiating has changed to where these guys have mastered getting to the free throw line. And again, he dropped 42 last night. He was unreal. He had 3 free throw attempts and 34 field goal attempts. Like he could have easily had 50+ points last night if he could find a way to use this to his advantage, like these other top scorers do. So I agree with him. I think it's exhausting watching it. It's not ethical basketball, but at the same time, you got to respect the guys that can get to the stripe, that can slow the game down, that can stop a run and get to the free throw line and get, like Lou said, 6, 8, 10 points a game extra just by outsmarting and literally forcing your way to the free throw line like these other guys have mastered to do. So I respect the way he plays, and we talk about his size. He's a 6'7" point guard, but Joel Embiid does it. He's a 7-foot center. Like Luka's a big boy. Like these bigger guys, like they all do it, and it has now become such part of the game where he at some point he will add this to his game, and you'll see him go from 24, 25 points a game to 30 plus because he'll get way more free throw attempts. So
you know what I saw last night, Chandler? Yeah, last night what I saw, Sohan goes into the game. He's pressuring him up the court. He's physical with him. Like, look, all it takes is for me one time for you to put your hands on me, swing through. That's one foul, Sohan. Now in the half court, it's going to go my way now because you got to back up because you don't want to go to the bench. Now I've created space. You want to run up again? Now I'm going to use my physicality. I'm jab stepping. I'm going through your body. Now that's your second foul. So you don't have to flop or foul bait. It's just a matter of controlling how guys can guard you and for it to swing your way every time on the offensive end. So, that's something that he can put in his game. But instead, last night, he fought the pressure. And some guys like that. Some guys like to fight pressure up the court. Now, me, on the other hand, I did not. I didn't. I don't want you guarding me 94 feet. So if you're going to guard me 94 feet, I'm going to make sure we tangle our bodies up. Yeah. You're going to get aggressive. I'm going to fall down or something, or I'm going to swing through. Now you got to foul. Now you got to guard me way at the three-point line down the floor. So those are small things that can control it. Chandler just said it, 34 attempts. Well, you could have took 8 of these off the board and turned them into 4 trips to the free throw line a lot easier for you, and you can adjust it. You can adjust and manage the game even better. But that's something that he learned as a player.
Would you call yourself a flopper or a baiter? Like if I was going to get you a card.
Okay. I was a baiter for sure. I never flopped.
Tangling bodies out there, just baiting them up. Hey guys, today's about me getting terms. Normally I go to our Captain America Chandler on Olympic questions, but I'm going to start with Boogie on this one because Cade mentioned also his goal is to make the Olympic team. I love that he said all this.
He believes he's the best starting point guard.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what do you mean? Of course he's on the team.
He wants to be known as the best
American-born player, guys. That's his goal, Boogie. I feel like we're past that, dude. Like you're on the team. No,
I think he's a starting guard for the USA team.
No doubt.
I'm not sure when he, had this interview or whatever, but as of today and moving forward, I think the conversation is he starting at the 1 or the 2 for this USA team. So I think he's definitely made a name for himself. And outside of the great play, I think the biggest thing that he's made a name for himself as is being a great leader. And doing it and I keep speaking on that because I'm so impressed by it as far as just him being
only 24.
Very, very mature beyond his years. So I think that's probably one of his best qualities outside of all the gifts that he has on the court. So, as of today moving forward, I don't think this is a question. It's more so about, is he starting at the 1 or 2 for Team USA coming up?
Yeah.
Boogie, do we live in a world where he hasn't gotten a phone call from Team USA yet?
I mean, maybe they haven't started doing that.
If he hasn't, Grant Hill is tripping. This dude is a starting point guard. It's him and Anthony Edwards and Devin Booker and fill out whoever else, whether it's Tatum or Jalen Duren. Like, who cares? But this dude right here, the best American player, he's up there.
I mean, him.
Anthony Edwards is right there. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown, like Jason Tatum, like the USA team's going to be stacked. But the one thing I think is for sure is he should be the starting point guard. I think it's Cade. I think it's Ant. I think it's Book. And then fill out whoever else I wish Jaylen Brown didn't have so much beef with Team USA because he should be on the team.
It's not him.
And I think his teammate is the starting center on Team USA, Jalen Duren. So I think they both shape up that starting 5.
We are the United States of America. We're not going to start this best American player thing. All of our American players can hoop.
United.
We are the United States of America. We're not going to start this best.
We will win gold.
By the way, wearing a Canadian hockey hat today.
He'll be a huge reason. Beadle, we will win gold, and he will be a
Beadle
huge
is
reason
Team
why.
World. Yeah. Beadle, we gotta get you. We gotta get you back on the right side, Beadle.
Well, you better get this country on the right side, and then I'll join you. We're going to take a quick break. Yeah, drink that water, Chandler. We're taking a break. When we come back, we've got more hoops. See you in a second.
You bet.